Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel if you're new here. My name is Michala, and today I'm going to flip through my 2025 reading journal, and it is so full, and I feel like I've been waiting a long time to film this video. If you didn't know, I started posting videos in January of 2025 with this reading journal, and I actually filmed a reading journal every month of 2024, but I never posted any of them. I think I was just kind of getting used to filming and used to filling out my reading journal and all of that. So I do have a reading journal from 2024. I didn't do November and December in it, I believe. I fell off trying to get this reading journal ready and start my YouTube channel, but I could always show you that one if you're interested. But this is very thick, so without any further ado, let's light this candle and we'll get started. So this is a A5 bullet journal from Archer and Olive, and in 2024 I used a traveler's size little notebook from Notebook Therapy. So this was my first A5 journal, and I have an idea of something to put on this page at the end, but we're going to leave it like that for now. Here is my 2025 little cover and index page. I kept track of different spreads I did and put down the page numbers. I don't know how often I will actually use this, but I thought it was a really cute idea. And I have one blank spot here for a blank spread that I have in the beginning of this journal that I actually have an idea for. Then we have my year at a glance, where I kept track of monthly books read, number of pages, my average rating for that month, ebooks and audio. I put ebook at the top, but I actually keep track of audiobook here as well with a little headphone symbol. So in February, you can see I did 5 books with a little E, so that's ebooks on my Kindle, and then 2 audiobooks and 1 physical. So I keep track of physical books, number of books I DNF'd, so did not finish, books I unhauled, and books I bought or hauled. So I don't have December filled in, so I thought we could do that. I think this spread is really helpful to see on average how many books I read, how many pages I read, and things like that. You can see in February I read 8 books, which is kind of crazy, seeing as the other months the most I have is 5. Okay, but here are my stats, and I read 3 books in December, but they were really large, and it was 2,213 pages, so which is the most pages I read of all of the months of 2025, and an average 4.5 rating, which is also pretty high, but I only read 3 books. I think it's pretty crazy that I read 8 books in February and still had an average of 4 stars. And in December, all 3 of those were audiobooks, but one was immersion, where I read the physical book while listening sometimes. So I think I will say 3 with my audio symbol, and then here I will put 1, and so it doesn't add up to 4. I'm just going to put 1 immersion, if that makes sense. So 1 immersion. So that way I know it was both. It's not like an additional 1 book. It's still a total of 3. I did not DNF any books, and I didn't unhaul any books. I really didn't unhaul books often at all. I think I was very much in a collecting phase in 2025. This was a year I really got back into reading and got my childhood collection of books, at least most of them, from my dad's house. He moved out of my childhood home, and I went and got a good amount of my books, but there were a lot that were left behind as well. So this year I really was kind of building my library, so I did not unhaul many books at all. I think right away in January you can see I unhauled 2 books, and I might have given a book away here or there, but I didn't keep track of it, so we'll try to do better about that next year. And I hauled 0 books. I was trying not to buy as many. You can see in May, that's my birthday month, I got 12 books, which was definitely the most by far. So I love this spread. And then we have my reading goals, which I did reach my goal of 48 books, and I actually read 49. And since it's just one book over, I thought I could add this little 49th spot down here. I think I will have to do tape on it. There we go. And so now I can fit my 49th book on here. And they were all audio, with this one being immersion. So I will do, like you can see here, I'll do it half the physical color and half the audio color. And I say this every time, but my two beige colors, they appear more different in real life. You can see the difference a lot better. So I know it must look confusing on camera. They look kind of like the same color, but oh no, my pen lifted up the ink. I think I must have done this not in my Micron that's waterproof. I think I did my ink in my Muji pen for this one, but that's okay. It still looks pretty good. There we go. I'm really happy I met my goal of 48 books and even got to 49. I remember before 2024, I had not read in so long that I would read like 1 or 2 books a year, and even then they were like self-help or like self-improvement type of books. And not that those don't count, but I just definitely was not reading for fun. So I'm really happy to be back into reading. And then in here, I was keeping receipts, but I've gone through all of my receipts and taken them out. So I keep receipts for books that I've bought that I want to track on the next spread. And what I added in here was this extra list of books bought, because as we'll flip over and see, I filled it all up. I bought a lot of books this year. And so I continued my count with the prices over here. And I highlighted on the edge here for November and October, and I actually did not buy any books in December. So I think this is a really nice overview to see what I've added to my library. I stopped keeping track of audiobooks and Kindle books because in December I got a subscription to Kindle Unlimited and Audible. So I find that easier because at the end of the year I can just add up all of the months I paid for those subscriptions, and I don't have to count individual audiobooks and ebooks, if that makes sense. So this is just my physical books, and then there are a couple of Kindle or audiobooks before I had those subscriptions when I just bought them like one-off books. So I think this will work really well moving forward into 2026. I'll just keep track of my physical books and then add up all of the months that I pay for Audible and or Kindle Unlimited. And I do get books from the library as well, so of course those are not on here, but this is a nice way just to keep track of the books that I bought. And so the extra list I ended up putting in here. And then this spread, of course, tracks the books I bought, but also this side was for my wish list to kind of keep track of the books that I wanted to own physically at the beginning of the year. I was really curious if by the end of the year these would be the books that I prioritized or not. And I can say that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of these books I read, and like 5 of them I did end up buying. Queen of Nothing, I do want to own it because I really like this trilogy, and this is the last one. But I was really eager to read it, so I got it from the library. So one day I want to buy this still, but the rest of them I didn't actually get around to reading or buying. So, and then this book I had already read, but I thought I would want to own a physical copy of it. And so I still might get a physical copy of this to reread in 2026, but we'll see. So I think this was a really fun spread, and I'll tally up the total I spent on books later. This is the On My Shelf spread, where I had to add a little tip in here over time because it keeps track of all of the books I own physically, which is a lot, but this really helps me prioritize them and go through them. And I have a couple I can check off. So Enchanted Greenhouse I read, Garlic and the Vampire I read, Bookshops and Bone Dust I read, Heat of the Everflame I read, and those are all of the ones I read. And I've already recreated the spread and took off the books that I've read and compiled just the books on my shelf I haven't read in my 2026 reading journal. And I really like this spread. It's simple to make once you cut out all of the books, and it's really nice to look at. and keep track of all the books you own, because I have my books in several different places across my house. It's nice to have one place where I can see them all. Then I have my favorite books by month, and we can add my favorite book for December was Alchemized by Senlin Yu. And now we can put star stickers on. And I think if you had told me that Fourth Wing would be my favorite book of January, I would not have expected that. It was just a really fun time. It was so engaging and reminded me of books that I loved when I was younger and really got me out of a reading slump. So it was just really fun. The reason I'm putting the star rating at the bottom is because not every month did I have a 5-star book. So I think this is a good way to remember that, because there were actually some months where I had more than one 5-star. And so I'm thinking of doing one more spread on my blank spread I have left here in the beginning that I'll show you. And on that spread doing a wrap up of like total pages for the whole year, books read for the whole year, that kind of thing. And then including like my books I'll remember. So just like essentially my favorites, based on how much I enjoyed them. So not all of my 5-star books, but just the standout ones, and printing the covers kind of larger and doing that on my last empty spread here in the beginning of the book. So if you're interested in seeing that, let me know and I will film when I create that last spread. There we go. And yeah, so I'll quickly go over my favorite book for January was Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. My favorite book in February was Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez, and this is the month I read 8 books, so that's saying a lot. I read 3 other books by Abby Jimenez, and they were all really great. In March, my favorite book was Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater. This is like a fairy romance Regency story. That's a little bit like Howl's Moving Castle. In April, my favorite book was Blood Over Brighthaven by M.L. Wong. In May, it was The Tainted Cup by Robert Jackson Bennett. Really love this book. In June, it was Problematic Summer Romance by Ali Hazelwood. This was the best summer romance I've read. The Whisperwicks, The Impossible Trials of Benjamiah Creek by Jordan Lees was my favorite for July, but I had a couple other high-rated ones this month. Rose in Chains by Julie Soto was my favorite for August with 4.5 stars. Heat of the Everflame by Penn Cole was my favorite with 3.5 stars in September, so not very highly rated compared to some other months. In October, If It Makes You Happy by Julie Olivia was my favorite book with 5 stars. In November, Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid was my favorite with 5 stars. In December, Alchemized by Senlin Yu was my favorite with 5 stars. So then we have my monthly reading tracker with foldouts that I really liked, but this took forever to make. So I decided for my 2026 reading journal not to include this spread because it took so long to make, and instead I'm doing it in my Forest Planner, which is a B6 journal that already has monthly layouts. I'm doing the same tracking in there where I highlight the days I was reading a book, start to finish, and write the title in the highlighted area. But that's just going to be easier because the months are already included in that book and I don't have to make them. Next, we have my series tracker, where I did pretty good in the beginning of the year, and then later, the second half, I really didn't continue or start these new series. But I did finish Folk of the Air, almost finished Empyrean. I read all the books out in the Kindred's Curse saga, so I just need to add that third one. The 4th book is not out yet, so I've read all that were out so far. I didn't continue Red Rising, but I don't know why. I don't really have a very good reason. I definitely want to continue this in 2026. The Prison Healer I DNF'd. It was not as engaging as the Kindred Curse saga, and for some reason they were very similar to me. I finished the Emily Wilds series. I started and completed Part of Your World, which are like companion books by Abby Jimenez. I did not start the Farseer trilogy, but I want to, nor the Green Bone saga. and I reread the Infernal Devices trilogy. Then we have my book club and bingo, which I won't go over too much, but I do need to add bingo sticker to one-word title for the book Alchemized. And then the rest I think I have checked off. I don't think I ever read a classic, and I'm not really sure if I read a minority POV, to be honest. I feel like I would know if I did, but at the same time, I might have and I just didn't count it. But I think I did pretty good overall. And over here, I kept track of the books I read for book club. I do need to add one more, but we only meet every other month, and there was a book I didn't read, and there's one I'm still reading. So I'm going to do this later. And down here, I think I will put my favorite book I read for book club, which I already have a feeling will be Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry, which we read in July. But I'll wait until I read the final book before I put that in there. Here is the empty spread where I think I will do a yearly overview. So let me know if you want to see that, and I'll record it when I make it. And then we start my monthly spreads and some seasonal TBRs. And now I will just show you and flip through with January. In January, I read Love Light Farms by B.K. Borison. I read this book for book club, American Housewife by Helen Ellis. It's a collection of short stories, and I would say this was the most unique and kind of out of my comfort zone book I read all year. Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. February is the month I read the most books in 2025. I read Deep End by Ali Hazelwood, Thorn Hedge by T. Kingfisher, The Woods Are Always Watching by Stephanie Perkins, Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros, Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez, The Fall Risk by Abby Jimenez, and Part of Your World also by Abby Jimenez. And last but not least, I read Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez, which was one of my favorites. Here's my spring TBR, where I included books, movies, and games that I wanted to play and read in the months of spring. March. Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales by Heather Fawcett. Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater. Glow of the Everflame by Penn Cole, and Queen of Nothing by Holly Black. April. The Ornithologist's Field Guide to Love by India Holton. The Lost Story by Meg Schaefer, and The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Blood over Brighthaven by M.L. Wong. I really like how this spread turned out. This is a spread that I feel like reflects both the mood and kind of the vibe of the book pretty well. And this is one of my favorite books of the year. May. I loved my reread of The Infernal Devices by Cassandra Clare. This is The Clockwork Prince, which is the second one, and I like all of my spreads for this series. It's using similar ephemera to the Blood over Brighthaven spread, and I think I just really like these ephemera sets. They're just sets from Amazon with some washi tape from Notebook Therapy, but I really like how everything looks all mixed together. And in all of my Infernal Devices spreads, I've used this clock watch sticker somewhere on the spread. The Tainted Cup by Robert Jackson Bennett, Witch Hat Atelier Volume 2, my summer TBR. June. Problematic Summer Romance by Ali Hazelwood, Uprooted by Naomi Novik, First Time Caller by B.K. Borison. I love how colorful and kind of crazy this spread is because it looks very summery. and I really like the use of the boba stickers and the girls with the plants. These stickers are from Maragona Suli, mixed with some ephemera from Amazon. July. For July, I did something a little different with this cutout, and I really like this washi tape set with the birds. I definitely want to use it again sometime, but I don't know that I executed this the best, but I still like it a lot. Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry, and The Love Haters by Catherine Center. The Impossible Trials of Benjamiah Creek, The Whisper Wicks Volume 2 by Jordan Lees. Teller of Small Fortunes by Julie Leong. August. I think this is one of my favorite cover spreads. I just really like the colors and how everything is layered and looks pretty seamless. Frozen Chains by Julie Soto. I love the keys on this one. I got a roll of stickers that are all keys, and I really like to use them in a lot of different spreads. Bookshops and Bone Dust by Travis Baldry. I love that I used a lot of books and had these witches which kind of fit the theme of the book. Clockwork Princess by Cassandra Clare. My Fall TBR. September. Heat of the Everflame by Penn Cole. A Harvest of Hearts by Andrea Eames. I thought this was a really unique spread and kind of different for me. I love the cutout of the heart and that it's not taped down all the way around. It's been squished a little bit being in the middle of this journal, of course, but you can see it still pops up a little bit. What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher. I really like these stickers from Root and Branch Paper Co. I really love the illustration style of these. My October bingo. I actually kept track of this on my phone, but I might come through and put stickers on all of them as well. But this was really fun and just a nice extra October spread to do because I love reading in fall time. My October cover spread, I really like this one. I used some pre-cut washi tape from the washi tape shop, which are like these sticker rolls, and they're really easy to use and layer. And I have a lot of different little bats and cats and things on here. If It Makes You Happy by Julie Olivia. A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness. Garlic and the Vampire by Brie Paulson. Hot for Slayer by Ali Hazelwood, The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. November cover spread, Don't Let the Forest In by C.G. Drews, What Stalks the Deep by T. Kingfisher, and How to Fake a Haunting by Krista Carmen, The Enchanted Greenhouse by Sarah Beth Durst, Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is one of my favorite spreads. I just really love these different elements layered together, and I love the color scheme as well. And I also loved this book. I put 4.5 stars, but really I think I'll give it 5. Sometimes I kind of change my mind, and that's why I think I'll do a reading wrap-up, is because I feel like if I keep thinking about the book and it really sticks with me, I can look back on my year and see the 4 stars and the 4.5s and the 5s, and I kind of have a new perspective on which I think are 5 stars at the end of the year. My winter TBR. December. These are my wrapping paper spreads I just did using wrapping paper I got on my gifts for Christmas. Outlander by Diana Gabaldon. A re-listen to of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, the full cast edition. Alchemized by Sen Lin Yu. And that's my whole reading journal flip through for 2025. Let me know if you want to see me do this last spread, or of course I could just move on to my new journal. I could do this in my own time and I don't have to necessarily film it. But yeah, this is so thick. But yeah, just let me know if you want to see that last spread of my year's review of the books I read and my stats and all. And this is the thickest journal I've ever filled up, but it's so satisfying to see it all filled up at the end. And I'm really happy and proud of myself for sticking with my YouTube channel for all of 2025, and I'm really grateful that all of you and any of you watch my videos. It means a lot to me. Sometimes when I create videos, it can be hard to imagine that real people choose to watch them, but I'm so grateful that you do, and I'm so grateful that you're here. I would love it if you'd stick around for 2026 and follow me along with my reading adventures and all of my journaling, and hopefully some more cozy vlogs. Oh, and one last thing I want to do to end out this journal. I never put my name on the front, but what I want to do is get my embosser and one of my stickers that came with it. I have some trial ones on here, but let's get a new one. And we can emboss this sticker and put it on the cover. I thought that would be a nice way to kind of end my reading journals, because I really like this embosser that my mom got me. I want to use it on more of my books, either straight on the page or with these stickers. I think it's really fun that you kind of have options. You could put the sticker in your books, or you can just emboss straight onto the front page of the book. There is my reading journal all filled out. Thank you guys so much for being here, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!